Racing's greatest event, the Interdominion, was a triumph for little-known New South Wales driver Howard James and superstar trainer Brian Hancock. James, who's hardly heard of in the harness racing, was the man who drove the winner Thorate. After the horse's trainer, Brian Hancock elected to drive his other representative, Wiona Chief, who finished third. John Casey has the story of the $420,000 race.
From the moment the interstate competitors started arriving in Adelaide and settling into their new surroundings, one had the impression that the 49th running of the Interdominion would produce something out of the ordinary. In fact, some people got completely carried away with the occasion. They wanted the carnival to be so successful, it seemed that no job was too difficult, even if it meant hours and hours at the local hairdressers. At the track, conditions were ideal throughout the series, and with 30 of Australia's best pacers vying for the top honour, the big crowds were treated to some first-class racing. In some instances, track records were broken, only to be bettered just 3 days later. After 9 gruelling heats, all that punters knew was that it was going to be a nightmare finding the winner. This is how the final field shaped up. With a scratching of Reba Lord, fellow Kiwi Gaelic skipper started from the outside of the front row, with joint favourites Wiona Chief and Whitby Timer well drawn. Vin Knight put his faith in Rockley Victory, despite drawing the inside of the second line, while his sparring partner throughout the series, Vic Frost, was on the outside.
Jane Ellen is expected to lead. They're all pacing perfectly. They're about to go. There's the blue light. Jane Ellen has fired out very quickly and going with it. Whitby Heritage. Whitby Timer got away well on the outside. All the Dreamers pushing through on the inside. Caught out wide. Thorate going forward around Wiona Chief. Rockley Victory on the inside. Then further back, Kylie's Hero, followed by Westburn Grant, and Gaelic Skipper immediately goes back to last. Into the back straight the first time, and it's Jane Ellen in front by a length and 3/4. Over on the outside is Whitby Timer, racing ahead in advance of All a Dream, which is going to get the run of the race, and one out and one back is the West Australian mare, Whitby Heritage. Then ahead back on the inside is Rockley Victory. 2 lengths further back behind them, Wiona Chief. A length and a half to Kylie's Hero. 2 lengths to Westburn Grant, followed on the outside by Thorate, who's looking for a position, can't get it, he'll have to go back to last, and Gaelic Skipper is second last. The race off the back straight the first time, and the pace is not very fast at all, and young Darren Binskin's dictating the terms. Leads by 3/4 of a length on Whitby Timer. Rod Chambers will be happy with the pace there on the outside. A length back on the inside is All a Dream. 1 out and 1 back, still Whitby Heritage. Rockley Victory is jammed up on the rail. Then a length and a 1/4 further back behind it, Wiona Chief, followed by one going through on the inside now, Thorate. Then further back, Kylie's Hero, followed by Westburn Grant, the length and a half, Gaelic Skipper. Past the judge, 2 laps left to run in the Interdominion Grand Final, and it's Jane Ellen. Untroubled in front, the pace is moderate, it leads by 3/4 of a length on Whitby Timer. 3/4 back on the inside to All a Dream, Whitby Heritage, 4th on the outside. Back on the fence, Rockley Victory will need luck from there. Then a length on the outside, Wiona Chief's getting a good run. 3/4 of a length to Thorate on the fence, and 3/4 of a length on the outside, Kylie's Hero. Then 2 lengths further back, Westburn Grant, the length and a half further back behind him, Gaelic Skipper. They go down the back straight now with about 1,300 metres left to run. And still no moves from the back of the field. Jane Ellen carts them along, leads by half a length on Whitby Timer. Now going up to put pressure on the mare. A length and a 1/4 further back behind them, All a Dream. Followed on the outside by Whitby Heritage. Rockley Victory still on the rail, fronting 5th. 6th on the outside, Wiona Chief. Followed on the outside next by Kylie's Hero, covering Thorate. A length and a half, Westburn Grant, and the same margin further back, Gaelic Skipper. They come down to get the bell. The first 1/4 of the last mile in 29.9 seconds. And they quicken up the tempo as they go past the judges' box into the final lap. Whitby Timer's raced up on the outside to join Jane Ellen. Whitby Heritage has had a great run. All a Dream is back behind the leader. 3 wide goes Wiona Chief around the outside of Rockley Victory. Thorate is caught on the fence, then Kylie's Hero going 3 wide. A length and a half, Gaelic Skipper, and Westburn Grant is last. Down the back inside the 600 metres. The second 1/4 in 30.4, and it's Jane Ellen boxing on. She's shaken off Whitby Timer to lead that horse by a length. Coming right up round the outside, Whitby Heritage 3 wide, and off the track, Wiona Chief 4 wide, putting in the giant strides. All the Dreamers packed behind him in the centre and can't get a clear run, and Kylie's Hero's wide, but Jane Ellen is sprinting strongly. 250 metres to go. Jane Ellen the leader. Here's the run for Thorate, and Thorate got off the rail, dashes up in a stride and takes the lead. Howard James, the substitute driver, takes the lead on Thorate. Jane Ellen under the whip, and coming home down the outside, Wiona Chief, and through the middle, Gaelic Skipper, but Thorate is going to win convincingly. Thorate wins by 2 lengths, Gaelic Skipper. A net back on the outside. Brianna Chief, a length and a half, Westburn Grant. Then Jane Ellen, followed by All a Dream. Then Rockley Victory, wide out Kylie's Hero. And about 50 metres further back behind them, Whitby Timer and Whitby Heritage, a length back in last position.
Well, what a great race and what a great drive by Howard James, having his first drive in the Interdominion, and a splendid performance by trainer Brian Hancock. And Howard and Brian join us now. Firstly, to both of you, congratulations, and thanks for joining us. There must have been some celebrations last night, Brian.
Yeah, it was, Bruce. We're all a bit weary this morning. We've had went till about past 3, 4 o'clock, and I went down to the hotel this morning. There's still a few guys sitting having breakfast, so they haven't gone to bed. So we've had a big night.
Howard, what about for you? It was a great drive. You had to make a decision down the back straight to go to the fence or come one off, and you went to the fence. You must have thought your Christmases had all come at once on the turn.
Yeah, well, Brian said all week the horse that has the luck in running will win the race, and Thorate had trouble making ground out wide in the second round of heats, and we thought, well, you know, the fence is the shortest way home, and I just hope and prayed the runs came, and they did. Tell us a bit about yourself. We all know about Brian Hancock and his success, but I must confess I hadn't heard of you before last night. Sorry about that. Oh, no, well, I've sort of been tied up for Brian with about 18, 20 years, and I've always sort of helped Brian out weekends and part-time, and do a bit of driving for Brian when I'm required. Well, you did a bit of driving last night, Brian, and you did it pretty well. Brian, for you, how did you feel after the race? You drove the third horse, you trained both first and third, but you made the wrong decision, I guess, as it turns out. How did you feel? I felt really great. You know, I wasn't disappointed. All through the week I thought I made the right decision, because they're both entirely different horses, and I've got to say this between Alan Williams and Screwy Rawlins, that their decision, they left it with me. But to be fair to both owners, I felt that I had to drive the owner chief, because he was very green and he's only a new chum in the game, and I felt that's the way I done it. I made my decision, and to Ronnie Swan and his family, the decision was quite easy, really. And Howard has drove Thorate, and he's a lovely horse to drive, and he done a great job last night. When you look at the replay, I haven't seen it till this morning, and the horse has done a great job, and they both done a great job. I felt that it was like an Interdominion. I said all along, the horse getting the right trip in the race will win, and that's what happened last night with Thorate. He got the good trip, and he came out the victor of the race. What about the pressure on a driver in a major race, Brian? We've seen Vic Frost and Vin Knight clash during the week. You clashed with Vinnie Knight after the Foster's race here. What's the pressure like between drivers in the big race? Well, it's a different story now. We're racing for big money. We're racing, like last night's final was 420,000, and it's not a great deal of pressure. I think you bring the pressure on yourself. I think you want to do it that way, you do it. But with Vin and Vic's episode, it was just one of those things, heat of the moment things, and I think everything's right now. It's the same as Vinnie and I in Melbourne. I felt that once you come off the track and let the horse's head down, it's got to be over. It's bygones are bygones, and I've got to say that's the way I treat it. I've always done that way. You know, we have our little difference on the track, and but I feel, as I say, come off the track, it's got to be all over and done with, because, you know, we've got responsibility to the public and responsibility to everybody. It's our great business. You don't want to sort of put on a show. I think we want to show the good points of it, don't we? Well, the good points were shown last night. To both of you, congratulations. Thanks very much for making the effort today. You've had a long night, a long couple of weeks. Well done. Thanks very much, Bruce. Thanks, Bruce. Howard James and Brian Hancock, who combined last night to win that Interdominion $420,000 race in Adelaide. We'll be back with more after the break.